Alright, looks like I'm live. Hey guys, Turtle Lag's back with another live stream video for you guys. So today I will be going over the new Sumire dicer that came out with this new cube event. This is going to be for the next 2 weeks. Now, what I like about this Noah special hour here is we're going to not only get the masks and the cubes for each day, but we'll also be getting the Pomodoro fruits, which is badly needed for the Arthur event, which many of you are aware of. So nothing new here, so I'm just going to jump over to the one of the new features of this this event. We have the dicer effects. Now, these are effects that when you get a combination of certain dicers, it gives you extra attack and HP buffs to different dicers such as D4s, D6s, and D10s. Additionally, if you have 2 or 3 of a certain dicer, you can get some rewards with these new linked dicers. Alright, so moving forwards, we also have a Valentine's racing event, which I was kind of confused about because, you know, Valentine's Day is definitely over by now. But the nice thing is that you can get more masks from her, or from this event, and we haven't had event dungeons since I want to say like February or March, so it's nice to have something to do with the event tickets. Yeah, and I'm not entirely sure if it's worth it to, or if it's even possible to get more event dungeon tickets. I'm assuming you probably could. It may be a good way to get those extra masks you need to get 2 copies of Sumire. But just jumping over to the next one, so this is definitely what most people are going to be excited about. We have the Sumire, or Sumire. I'm just going to pronounce Sumire. Hey Hellfire, thanks for joining. I'm starting this live stream early because I have a lot to do today, and I just wanted to get this out of the way. As you can see here, we have not 1 but 2 new dicers that you can acquire in this event. So Sumire, she is a D10 melee who hits pretty hard. Up until this point, the only other D10 melee dicer that has been obtainable in Lord of Dice Global has been Liddy, who is a fantastic dicer. Hopefully some of you got a 6-move Liddy during the Rebirth event. But anyways, apparently you can also get a 4-star Lynn, who is a D6 melee dicer. I'm going to go over both of their skills in a moment. They're both actually pretty good. I wouldn't say they are must-haves, but they are definitely, you know, if you can acquire 1 or 2 copies of them, well, 2 copies I would say, then they will definitely be useful. Alright, so this is what the Sumire shard cubes look like, and this is what the Sumire mask looks like. Okay, let's continue onwards. I like how they changed the animation here, and this is her when she's about to change, I guess. So, alright, let's dive right into it. So I'm going to begin by going over Sumire's skills. I think her skills are really unique, and they're actually quite powerful. Now, with melee dicers, you're not going to get into dice battles as much, but I feel like her dice battle ability is actually a lot better than a lot of the melees currently out there. So I'm just going to go into the unseal section and pull up her skills. Okay, so you can get anywhere between a 3-move to a 6-move Sumire. Now, a lot of you guys know already that in most cases you're going to want to get a 6-move melee, just so you can traverse the most steps in a map. Now, with her being a D10 single dicer, that means that she's going to hit harder, but she'll also be squishier, basically. So you have to just be careful with your team composition, make sure you don't have too many D10s in your team. Now, her first movement ability, Eroder, it inflicts 20% of attack as bleeding damage for 2 turns. So I think this is 20% of her her natural attack, or whatever her buffed attack ends up being. So if you look at Sumire's stats here, assuming you get her to level 45, she's going to have, let me just double check. Wow, that seems like a lot of attack. Okay, she gets 3,322 attack, is that correct? And, you know, it just occurred to me, I didn't film this, but actually there was another D10 melee dicer introduced, maybe within this past week, so I'll go over Lanho as well. But anyway, so so for Sumire, she has, you know, high attack, 3,322 when she's level 45, 1,369 HP, so not a lot. If you transcend her, she almost reaches 4k attack, which is a lot. And just reviewing her abilities here, so bleeding damage, so 20% of attack as bleeding damage. I'm assuming it's kind of like poison, but it's based off of her attack. So let's say you had a level 45 Sumire, limit broken. So if you were to take 20% of that, so you'd recover this, or you'd deal this much damage per turn, additional damage on the opponent, which, you know, when I look at this number, it's not a whole lot, but at full charge this does double, and it lasts for 3 turns. Over the course of 3 turns, it's like you dealt an extra attack on them, so not bad. I don't think it's incredibly amazing. I do think her dice battle ability is good, actually. Soul Exterminator destroys 1 die for each dice type. Effective against enemies that use D4, D6, and D10 dices at the same time. Now, I think this explanation's a little confusing. I think the spreadsheet does explain the ability, the dice battle ability, a little better. So it says here, yeah, destroys 1 D4, D6, and D10 dice. That's really good. Even if they are missing, like, let's say they don't use a D10 dice, I mean, you still destroy 2 dice. That can potentially be devastating when I think about it now. And her Fortify ability actually is not bad. I've actually found usefulness in this with Descent challenges, where the extra damage allows you to master skill with, you know, greater percentage of damage and dealing and getting more points out of that. So yeah, Sumire I think is a great dicer. I don't think she is a must-have in a lineup, but I find D10 melee dicers to be extremely useful in clearing, say, like Infinity Tower or in PvP situations. And I think that the Korean tier list says pretty much the same thing. In PvP situations, she is excellent, she hits hard, her dice battle ability is really good, and her first ability is really good too. Just dealing more damage on top of her already very high attack stat. Same thing with PvE, like Infinity Tower. She's actually not bad in raids either, although I'm sure many of you know, using a melee dicer in a raid situation or Descent challenge situation is not that reliable, especially if you need to be landing on specific tiles. Melees just aren't as good for those situations, but I do think that if you have the ability to acquire her, she will be a very nice addition to your team. For me personally, I think, I'm not sure if I'm going to go for her or not. I'm still waiting on one of the Cube event dicers that will be released this summer, the mermaid one, Erin. Because I feel like at this stage, the other day I got my second Malite, and a few weeks back I got my second Kitsune, so I'm pretty happy with the dicers I have now. What I really need right now are good enhancers. Unfortunately, I missed Kangim, which was one of the best snipers released in Rebirth several months back. Which, speaking of, I think my guildmates were talking about how with this new patch, some of the Dice to Rebirth, Dice to Rebirth dicers that have been released in the past, like Kangim, Mashu, those dicers, I think you can actually pull them now. Unfortunately, I can't really reveal that here, but some of my guildmates were saying that you can acquire past Dice to Rebirth dicers now. Which, if that is true, I think is really good, especially considering that I think we really need new people joining this game. I feel like with this, I mean, yesterday, I think one of the top guilds, Mercenary, they lost a lot of good people, which is really sad to see because I felt like they had a lot of potential, and yeah, I just feel bad. But I know a few of them have joined Ace, and so hopefully they'll, you know, do better. And yeah, I've been trying to think of ways to keep this game alive. I've been thinking about doing a live stream later this week, specifically catered to newcomers, just getting them completely up to speed with all the features in this game, because I feel like, you know, right now we've hit the 4-month mark approximately for this game, and this is around the time when certain mobile games get a lot more attention, I would say. So, you know, in my friends list, I've been trying to add a lot of new players to this game. I think if I scroll down, I think a few of the friends I've added actually just started this game. Yeah, like Blackhawk not too long ago. Got a couple others, they're probably down here. So, you know, for those of you guys who are thinking about joining this game, if you have any questions, want to ask me, don't hesitate to ask me. There's a lot of features in this game and things, different ways to succeed in this game, so there's a lot to keep track of, and I'll try to find a way to condense it all down in one video. Maybe like put some sort of entry in a forum like Reddit or something that'll help a lot of newcomers who are trying to get into this game. I think that this game, for people who are just joining, this is actually a good time to join because they have a lot of great rewards being released in the next few weeks with the Arthur Torch relay, which a lot of people were skeptical in the beginning about whether or not we'd even reach the first couple floors. But I think that from here on out until June 26th, we're going to have lots of ways to get these Pomodoro fruits, hopefully. Okay. So let's go over Lynn. She is the 4-star melee dicer that was also released with this event. So here she is. You can acquire her by turning in 15,000 masks. I would highly recommend that if you are able to get her, to first get Sumire, because Sumire is more useful than Lynn. But actually looking at her abilities, she's pretty good. I mean, I don't think that she'll be playable in a lot of content, but she's actually not as bad as I thought she would be. Let's go over her skills real quick. So unfortunately, I don't know anyone who has her currently. I seriously doubt anyone has her right now. But if you look at her max, so if you get her limit broken, as you can see, her stats are pretty underwhelming. And actually, if you transcend her, her stats aren't really that much better. And also, she can have maximum 5 moves, so actually, now that I think about it now, I don't think she's worth getting. But let's go over her abilities. So her movement ability is Steel Armor, reduces 20% damage from giant monsters, kind of like what Grafe has. So that's kind of useful if you're a beginning player and need some way to mitigate damage from, you know, raid bosses or descent bosses. Enhanced Dice, her dicer ability increases 4 of your d4 dice by 1. Now that I think about it, I don't think that's as good as I originally thought in my mind. But I guess if you play a lot of d4s in your team, then she might be good. I think it's her Fortify ability that makes her interesting. Increases master skill damage by 40%. For those of you guys who have been playing this game for a while, you know that only a few dicers out there are able to have this amazing Fortify skill. I think out of the D4s, the only other dicer that has this ability is maybe Edward. Maybe one other dicer that I'm overlooking, but she's the only other dicer who has this ability. So she does have a niche if you're looking for a melee dicer with this ability, but other than that, I don't think there's much going for Lynn. So I would say skip her and just prioritize getting Sumire here. Hey Vixel. I hope I spelled your name right. Yeah, I agree with you, Hellfire. Like, this game is really generous with the gems. I know it looks like I have a lot of gems here, but honestly, I haven't really spent any gems for the past month, I want to say. Maybe month and a half. For those of you guys who have been following me closely, I haven't really done any massive premium summons lately, just because I think the past 2 cube event dicers, I already forget what they were, but they weren't something that I was really going for. In Sumire, I think that I'm pretty happy with my Liddy. I think she's really cool though, so I don't know, maybe if I pull her from a cube, then maybe I'll get her. I do feel like the game has more ways to collect masks, so I think it might be a little easier to acquire her compared to some of the past cube event dicers. Yeah. Oh yeah, good point. Yeah, so actually that's a good segue to the dicer effects. So this is a new feature which I wasn't expecting to be this good. It's actually really good. So if you go into index and these effects, you'll notice that there's 4 dicers with a special ability that's unlocked here. So as you can see, I'm missing Lilith, missing Beholder, I'm missing Lynn. So as you can see here, if you collect Edward, Fenrir, Lilith, and Beholder, you get damage reduction received by giant monsters. And then same thing with normal monsters. Okay, so I think how this works is if you have 1 copy of each of these dicers, you get the first level. So adds damage for D4 dicers at descent challenges. Ooh, that's pretty good. So if I was to limit break my what's her name? I forget. I don't remember the names of these dicers, but if I limit break all 4 of these, then I get plus 125 additional damage to my D4 dicers. If I transcend all my dicers, then yeah, I get plus 250. That's a lot. This category is actually pretty good. Same thing, additional damage with D6 dicers, D10 dicers. I think this is pretty neat. So as you can see here, I limit broke these 4, so I have the 2nd level for D10s, D4s. So this will definitely help with descent challenges, with raids, with achieving higher scores. Yeah, additional damage for raids. Ooh, additional HP. Interesting. I don't know how they decided these dicers, but some of them are actually pretty easily obtainable, so that's nice. And then with the linked dicers, I already unlocked the story for one of them. Yeah, Grafe and Fenrir. I already collected the reward, and I think there was another one. I think the Reapers was the other one. I could be wrong. Yeah, I was talking with some people in chat the other day about whether or not they're bringing back some of the old cube event dicers, and I think they will. I think that's what everybody was saying, because if you follow the Twitter feed for the Korean and Japanese Lord of Dices, we're actually catching up to them. Sure, we're missing a few dicers still, but we're almost there. I mean, in Dimensional Rift, we just need 3 more dicers to be unlocked. Yeah, these bottom 3. And then I think for cube events, I think we're just missing the Eskimo one and the mermaid one, and maybe a couple others. So I anticipate by fall we'll be mostly caught up with the other 2 countries. So that'll be nice, and then hopefully they'll start rerunning some of the cube event dicers for newcomers to obtain. Alright, what else? I did notice that in Noah's shop, guys, if you're willing to, you know, pay a lot of money, then you can acquire Malite. You can get a guaranteed Malite. Now, I just so happened to get my second Malite from the 5-star shards maybe 2 days ago, so I finally limit broke my Malite. But for those of you guys who want a guaranteed second copy of Malite, or first copy, you can basically purchase gems. We call it recharging gems, and if you acquire 28,800 gems, then you can get a Malite. And it's also a great, I think it's maybe the only way to get skins as well, which I didn't really talk about enough last time, but skins make a huge difference. Out of all these 4, I think Moshu's the only one who's really worth getting the skin for. By getting the skin, you reduce the charge speed for the dicer, which means they charge 1 turn sooner. Like fully charge, they achieve full charge status 1 turn sooner. So, I mean, that's pretty insane with something like Moshu, for instance, who, you know, in 5 turns, you activate her full charge ability, you know, get that healing going sooner. What else? Okay, so in terms of packages, nothing new, pretty standard. You know, if you pay 30, then you get some masks. I would say if you are seriously hardcore trying to get her, then you want to get this package. You can get up to 2 copies of this package, and yeah, 30 shards will get you pretty far. Yeah, so that's always an option there. I think that's about it. Oh yeah, guys, something I realized recently is if you get masks, definitely use them to acquire Sumire cubes, even if you don't think you'll even get 1 copy of Sumire, because I think in the past I was buying these, you know, just trying to use up all of mines. Well, I would get, of course, 6 shards first, but then sometimes I'll purchase these. But guys, these are easily obtainable via breakthrough. Yeah, especially now that they've released up to floor 14, there's no good reason at this point to spend masks on these evolution materials. Let me think, is there anything else to go over? I think that's about it. Yeah. Yeah, there wasn't too much to this event. I was kind of hoping for the mermaid dicer, but that's okay. I'll wait a little bit. If you guys are trying to think of the best way to spend your gems aside from premium summons, I would say that the best way to spend gems to acquire more of these masks is to do descent dungeons. Yeah, descent dungeons to get the extra 5 stars, which you may need for the next Dicer Rebirth. I don't know what's going to come out next. But Dicer Rebirth has been releasing some pretty good dicers lately, so the most notable of which has been Mashu. So definitely good to stock up on the 5-star dicer shards, like this one right here. Also, lately I've been spending gems on breakthrough. You get 1 free breakthrough run per day, but you can actually, once you do 1 run, recharge it by spending 200 gems for another run, which I think is definitely worth it, because especially if you can, clear several levels of the 14th floor, you can get 4-star runes, you can get 3-star runes, you can get the gold evolution materials and the silver ones, get some beans. Yeah, you get some really nice rewards from breakthrough. Okay, so I think that pretty much wraps it up for today. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to drop a comment below, and I will reply as soon as I can. But until next time, guys, take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.